Same old Aussies, always winning. Australia lead 2-0 in the Ashes after what England call a controversial day of cricket. I don't personally, and I'm sure we're going to talk all about that in this podcast episode as we review the Lord's Test and look forward to the next one in a couple of days. Charbel here from Crickblog, and as you can see, a pretty happy Australia fan, and I'm here to discuss the game with Nash, who is an India fan, but also supporting Australia in this series. How are you, mate?
Good, good. I'm happy. I'm happy with that introduction. I'm happy with the way things went for Australia yesterday. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a controversial day. I wouldn't call it a controversial decision. I wouldn't call it controversial anything. Yeah, it's been an interesting one because this Ashes series is certainly living up to its hype. It's living up to the expectations. It's tempers flying around, banter being thrown around. Even the MCC
Oh,
had to suspend three of its members who I, saw the names, one of the most poshest names I've ever read on a paper. Um, yeah,
disgraceful, man.
it's exactly like you have to, look in the mirror when you get that sort of reaction from someone like Usman Khawaja, and it was just baffling to see what the MCC members were on about because they make up the rules. Like it's literally they who write the rules of cricket.
This
And
is this is the thing. They're writing the rules and they're getting upset when it's implemented in a certain way.
exactly,
So what
it
got
was
riled?
implemented in the
Yeah,
right way.
yeah,
Don't
yeah.
get me
What
wrong,
what
like
what got
it was
everyone riled
perfect.
up was what got everyone riled up was an under 12s error by Jonny Bairstow. You wander out of your
Exactly.
crease before the ball is dead. That's on you.
Yep.
That's not on anyone else. This
Absolutely.
this is the problem with
Absolutely.
England, right? This is the problem with England. Very quick to throw the cheater card, to throw the spirit of cricket card without holding their own team to account. I don't think Australia were that flash in this test match, personally.
Classic English. Classic English.
Yeah, I don't think Australia were that flash in this test match, but England were worse. England were diabolical.
Look, I think I would say Australia had a leg up to England most of the test match. I
I
mean,
agree with you. I agree with you.
it was that period when we were chatting on WhatsApp and both of us had absolutely no clue what was happening with the bowling.
Mate, I thought it was going to be a repeat of Headingley. I honestly believed it. We can touch on that later, but oh, mate, it was awful, awful to sit through.
And yeah, sorry, coming back to the
Yeah,
Bairstow bit, I think we have seen so many instances. There's so many instances pointed out on internet. Bairstow himself doing that to Labuschagne a couple of days ago. England doing that to Grant Elliott a few years ago. Even McCullum doing himself to
Paul
Murli Dharan
Collingwood
a few years ago,
and Paul
and
Collingwood as
Paul
well.
Collingwood as well. Yeah,
And they say,
exactly. And
oh, and then the fans say to me, oh, well,
it's a
New
different
Zealand, New
situation. I'm
Zealand,
like, it's
New
not.
Zealand, New Zealand called him back. Well, it was Daniel Vittori who did that, but the fact that McCullum thought to do that, and then now he's
Yeah,
coming out and saying we wouldn't have a beer with the Aussies. Come on, mate. Right?
exactly.
Jonny Bairstow's wandered out of his crease. He has no right to do that. And Alex Carey, this is the thing, right? There's been a lot of replies to me today, but one of them, or there's a couple that are interested in me. The one that says, "Oh well, it's in the rules, but Australia can only win by cheating." Tell me how that makes sense. How can
Exactly. It
something
doesn't.
be in the rules but you're cheating? Tell me. Can you explain
Exactly.
that to me?
I can't. I can't. I think I saw that comment on your post, but it's, I just can't think how it can be cheating. With same with the stock catch. I know it's not out. I
Yeah.
agree it's not out, but you can't possibly think he was doing it on purpose.
Stark?
It's, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I believe it's not out. So anyone who knows me,
Yes.
and you would know me, that I'm I don't look at things in a biased eye. I will be fair and I will call
Exactly.
it as it
Yeah.
is. Right?
Yeah.
Stark, that's a fair decision. That's not out
It is.
because
It is. I think
yeah,
so too.
you're right. Because according to the rules, you use the ball on the ground to sort of control your landing. How many times do we see someone catch the ball and then fall on their elbow, or and then the ball pops
Yep.
out?
Yep.
That's the reason why that rule is in place.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying is, people saying Stark, Aussies sort of appealing for Stark's catch. It's just, yes, it's not out, but he didn't do it on purpose. Hence, it's not cheating, is what I want to say. Does that make sense? Because
You mean
cheating
appealing for the
implies
catch?
exactly, cheating implies you're doing something on purpose to make your team win. For example, sandpaper. I don't want to go there,
Oh
but
yeah, that's
that's
cheating. Absolutely, I will
that's the
say that.
perfect example. That's the
Mm.
sort of thing you sort of fans then sort of catch on, and they latch on that one thing, and sort of they blow it apart, especially when it comes to English media and people who have absolutely no clue what they're talking about, just jumping in right, left, and center on this. I think, as you perfectly screenshotted as well, Alex Carey threw that ball well before Bairstow was even out of his crease, and
And did not hesitate
it's just
in one
exactly, he
motion.
did not hesitate. It's My coach would just hit me in my backside with the same bat that I was batting with, and
Exactly.
say that's your fault. There's
Yeah.
no way there's any cheating going on
Jonny Bairstow's committed the rookie mistake, and yet people are out there defending him and pleading his case. What is going on?
after playing 80 tests.
After playing 80 tests and trying to get Marnus the same way. He's trying
Exactly.
to get Marnus the same way, which is he's perfectly entitled to do. If Marnus is unaware and he's run out, I'm the first one to say, Marnus, that's your fault. Bairstow,
Yep.
well done.
Yep.
100%. You can't walk out of your crease when the ball is still live. What is this? There's
Yeah.
rules here.
And the umpire
There's
hadn't even called
rules.
over. The ball
Anyway,
wasn't dead, but we could sit here and argue
now
this.
this was one reply I got to. I think this one took the cake. Someone said, as soon as Carey caught the ball, it's dead.
No, it's not.
What am I
I
reading?
think there's so many people out there that are still completely oblivious to
No, no, no.
most of
Look,
the
look.
laws of the
When
game.
when you let emotion get in the way, which I think a lot of England fans are
I
doing,
don't look honestly. I don't think it's emotion. I think it's just plain ignorance. I think it's just
maybe a
they
bit of
just don't
both.
know
A
the
bit of
rules.
both. A bit of both. They've
They
they've
just
lost
don't know the
they've lost their
rules.
fifth test at home to Australia in the last 8 tests on
I
home
think
soil, and it's
if
just getting to them a little bit.
If Australia managed to win the next one, oh, yeah, I think
It'd,
it'll
it'd,
be
it'd be
the
lovely. It'd be
sweetest
lovely.
victory.
Be lovely. A relative, a cousin of mine said today, "Oh, it'd be boring if Australia sweep this." I said, "Please, no, it won't be boring at all. Go and sweep it." But
No,
I don't think they will, and there's a long way to go yet. But the thing I'm saying is, England got themselves to blame in this Test match, right?
yep,
They had it. They had the conditions in their favour. They got the chance to bowl first on a seamer in overcast conditions. When it came their turn to bat, glorious sunshine and a beautiful batting wicket, but they decided to fall right into Australia's trap and literally help the ball into the deep and give
yep,
catches. It was brainless. It was
yep,
brainless. Kevin
yep.
Peterson, as much as I dislike his commentary at time, hit the nail on the head in the first day. He said England were diabolical and shambolic. They were.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah,
Yep,
they were.
absolutely.
England
And I think
England had all the conditions in their favour in this Test match. And had it not been for the Jonny Bairstow moment that actually fired Ben Stokes up, it may have been that 150 run victory that Zach Crawley talked about
yep.
for the opposition.
England definitely are choosing a hill they want to die on in this series, and it's not going
Yeah,
to
mate, I
be a
don't get it.
pretty one.
I
It's
don't
not
get
going to
it.
be a pretty one.
I don't know how Stuart Broad can lecture me on spirit of cricket. Now I've
Oh,
got time for Stuart Broad. I think he's been an excellent bowler, and
that's it. That's all he has been.
but when he tells Alex Carey, that's all you'll be remembered for. Hicks, yeah, hey mate, you know how you're remembered here in Australia by the majority of supporters here in Australia. You've got nearly 600 wickets, and yet people remember you for one moment. You nicked the
Yep.
ball to slip, you didn't walk, and you're talking to us about spirit of cricket. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Yep.
What's this hypocrisy?
Look, honestly, I've said this to you before the start of series. People like Bairstow, Broad. I don't enjoy seeing them. They annoy me for some reason. They annoy me a lot. Especially Broad's antics after the wicket of Bairstow. He was trying to irk the Aussies. Trying to sort of act in a way where he was trying to entice them into a
Yeah,
reaction,
yeah,
and
yeah.
all credit to Aussies. They were not having any of that, and they were just going around doing their own business and playing their own cricket, and that's how it should be, because there's a line you have to draw somewhere, and England are definitely overstepping that now. Well, very much like Bairstow did.
The thing is, right. Carey threw it in one motion. He catches it, he throws it. Bairstow still in his crease at that point. Now, when spirit of cricket comes into question, this is where I would say it's pathetic, right? If Carey catches the ball, waits, umpire calls over almost, and then Bairstow's walking down the pitch to meet Stokes, and then goes for the run out. Seconds
Yep.
later, that's when you say, no, that's out of line, mate. But when you throw it
Yep.
in one motion, you are perfectly entitled to do it. I don't see how that's cheating. This is on
It's not.
Bairstow. It's
It's
on
not.
Bairstow. Of
It's 100% on Bairstow. It's not
course.
even. It's
It's
not even a
ridiculous.
question. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
ridiculous.
And
The ball is not dead in that situation, and you've decided to wander out. You deserve to be dismissed. That is rookie
absolutely,
mistake. If my son in the
absolutely.
future is playing cricket and he does that, I'll tell him you're in the wrong, because you need to have. I think you need to have a sense of accountability, and you need to
You
take care of
just
what you can control of.
you just hide his cricket kit and lock it away somewhere in the shed. Uh,
100%,
um,
mate.
anyway, I
Come
think
on.
I think if we keep talking about this, we'll be here 2 days,
We,
3 days. But
we could be here forever, but yeah. But it's
um,
within the rules apparently. But it's the same old Aussies always cheating apparently. But it is within the rules that they created. So make that make sense. Make that make sense. Anyway,
um, speaking about making things make sense, tell me about Australia's tactics and how did they make sense when they were bowling to Ben Stokes? I can't. I I
mate,
couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I couldn't believe it either, and I was losing my mind. I was, mate, anxious, and it just kept rising, the anxiety last night, and it just felt like deja vu of Headingley 2019. We're giving
Did
this
you
guy.
happen to scream at the TV when Steve Smith dropped that catch?
There was an expletive, but I tried to keep it as quiet as I could. I didn't have a good feeling actually because he wasn't settled. I'm like, oh boy, he's really looking shaky. You know how Steve Smith usually settles
Yep.
himself. He was not still,
Yep.
and then it went down. I said, oh no, we're gonna stuff this up, aren't we? And it looked that way because
Yep.
it just felt like it was Headingley 2019. In that game, we couldn't get enough deliveries at Jack Leach. And then in this game, we couldn't get enough deliveries at Stuart Broad. We're giving Stokes easy singles on the fourth, fifth, and sixth ball of the over. That
Hmm.
made no sense to me. And we're bowling a lot of
Yep.
short fruit instead of trying the pitched up delivery from time to time, mixing it up, a bit more T20 bowling. That
I
should have been
had no
happening.
clue. Yeah, exactly.
That should have been happening when you're 130 still to win. You don't let it get to 70, 60, but all of a sudden the pressure grows. But luckily Stokes mishit one. But on another day, that goes into the stand again. You can't rely on Ben
We've
Stokes
to be
mishitting it.
honest, we have had that another day 4 years back.
Yeah,
We've seen what can
that's right.
happen,
He's
and
done it before. Yeah, yeah. And as
you
long as
know,
he was
with
there,
all the
as long
sorry,
as he
you
was
go.
there, there were a chance. As long as he was there,
Exactly.
there were a chance. And I said that at the start of the day. I'm like, he's the guy we got to get, like, because he's a champion player. Ben Stokes is the player. I'll quickly say this: Ben Stokes is the player. You don't look at his numbers and judge him on that. You look at him at what he does in the big games, and he's a big game player. So for me, he didn't deserve to be on the losing team. He was that good. He was outstanding. But 2-0, and hopefully Australia can step it up. And another point I make, that was without Nathan Lyon as well. Big missed
Exactly.
opportunity.
That was
Big
my
missed
next
opportunity
point
for
is,
England.
Todd Murphy coming in, Nathan Lyon
Yeah.
going out in this test match, in his 100th test match, unlucky. We saw him come out to bat, which was brave.
How good of him.
Exactly. And that 15 runs in the end, all runs matter in the end. And um moving on, Todd Murphy, Ashes, big moments. How do you think he's good? He did extremely well, I would say, as a debutant in India. How do you think he's going to fare in England?
I can't wait to
No,
watch him.
noting conditions in India were
Of
helping
course.
him a lot.
Of course. Uh, I think even when conditions in India weren't exactly conducive to sharp turn, he was still able to provide a lot of control. So what I'm
Yeah,
excited to watch from him in what I'm excited to see from him is how England are going to play him, because his control of length was outstanding in India, and his accuracy is his big strength. So England are going to try to take him on, but if he hits the right lengths, and he doesn't bowl those step hits and doesn't bowl too short, that perfect in between length that Todd Murphy hits so often, it's going to be an awesome battle. Um, it just the irony though, like 100 tests. for a bowler, the first ever to do it, and he gets injured in it. Like when he went down, I was
That was all the
extremely
chase.
worried.
Yeah.
It's like because at that point, he was our best bowler in the series. He
Yep.
had taken 9 wickets. He was providing the most control. Um, but what I will say is, and what I give the team credit for, his injury actually spurred the fast bowlers on. They sort of lifted their game and said, "We haven't got line anymore. We need to step up." And
Yep.
Hazelwood, who started very slowly, sort of started to ease his way in. Stark with the swing in the second innings, and Cummins, very good for the most part. So one more to go, one more win,
Yep.
and we win our first
Do you reckon any of the fast bowlers are rested for the next test, or they go with the same bowling attack and Murphy comes in?
I think Hazelwood might get arrested. It just depends on the conditions. If you're going to go with a short ball ploy again,
Well, the
um,
only option is bowling, so
I think there's Michael Nisa there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah,
Is there
yep,
Michael Nisa? There is, yeah,
yes,
for the third test squad. Um, Ultimately, it depends on conditions. I'd like to see Boland get another crack. I thought, leaving him out was a bit harsh, although Stark did well in that
mm,
second innings. Um, yeah, I think there'll be a bit of rotation. Hazelwood's played 2 in a row now, and given his injury history and a short turnaround, I think he'll be rested. That's my gut feel.
yep,
What do you reckon?
yep, yeah. I think now is a good time to bring in Boland or Nisa.
Mm.
Give rest to Hazelwood, but also noting that they might want to sort of go all out in this third test match and seal the series then and there,
Yeah,
perhaps.
and you
Um,
and you can do that by resting Hazelwood. You can
yeah,
still go all
absolutely.
out. Yeah,
But what I mean is, if they go with the same bowling attack this time, fourth test match and win, fourth test match could be a chance for Cummins to rest, for example.
yeah.
Um, and I don't think that will happen though. But that could be a plan. If Cummins wants a rest for a test match, but let's see what happens, and it's going to
Mm.
be really interesting at Headingley. You know the rowdy crowd, so to say, and
Yeah, they'll greet the Australians
yep,
very much so. And there's no all this talk. Oh, I would have reversed the decision. I would have told the batsman to go back and say, no, we were not going to dismiss you in that way. That talk from Ben Stokes is nonsense. Bairstow dismisses Marnus. No one's calling Marnus back. Let's be real. Stop
yep.
talking rubbish. But England are going to go hard at Australia because they have to now. The crowd are going to make it very uncomfortable for the Aussies. If you think that was abusive at Lords, wait till you see what's to come at Headingley.
Last question. I think noting the time we have, the last question is: have we seen the last of Bazball?
No, no, we haven't. No. They're
Come
too
on, like you can't
deep
possibly
edged.
think. Look, honestly, for all the comments that Ben Stokes made, Stuart Broad, everyone made at the start of the series saying, "Oh, this is how we're going to play in
Yeah,
whatever situation," and then Ben Stokes comes and is 70 of 130 balls. It's not a yes, it's not a good look. You have to win, and that's I was happy with the way he played only because he played the situation. He
yep.
played. He just didn't go crazy with the shots, and that's what I was happy about. But also noting that they have made comments in media and in press conferences saying no matter what the situation is, this is how we play, which is they're not backing it up.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think that first inning spooked them. They threw such a good position away with some brainless cricket. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with attacking cricket and playing aggressively. Some of the best teams in history sort of prided themselves on that style of play. But there has to be a balance between you got to use your cricketing smarts as well when the situation
Exactly.
demands it. Now,
Look, I
you got a
think
situation in the first innings, right? Nathan Lyon is out injured, and the Australian bowlers are banging it in halfway into the pitch. Now, if you're going to swing at everything with fielders there literally set for you to play that shot and hold out and give them a catch, well, then what are you doing? Instead of just ducking it for a few overs and then counter attacking later when Australia have to change their plans because it's not working. For
yep,
me, I was shocked. I'm like, England are Ollie Pope shot in the first innings. He's literally waiting for it. He's way outside his off stump before the ball reaches him, and he just hooks it straight to Steve Smith in the deep square. It's like it's something you'd see in the park when
Exactly.
you're trying to hit a
And
six.
that's what I was that's that's the problem with this kind of strategy or tactic is
Mm.
you sort of get into that mindset that this is how I'm going to play. This is how I have to play to be in the team. But now that Ben Stokes has shown that you can play the situation when the situation demands, where does England go from here? Because you're right, attacking cricket is not just playing any shots willy nilly. Because
Exactly.
Hayden, Gilchrist, Sehwag, they played attacking cricket. That's the attacking cricket that we have in mind. Or we may be old fashioned, but that's the attacking cricket we grew up watching. you know um that's where my mind goes when people say attacking cricket in test match. It's not about just playing any shot that comes to your mind and
Yeah.
not playing the situation.
The thing is with intent. Intent is not just hitting the ball to the boundary. Intent is the way you leave the ball and the way you defend the ball as well, because that can send a significant message to the bowler and to the fielding team. Because when you are defending so solidly, you're thinking, the bowler's thinking, crap, I just bowled a good delivery here and I did not trouble this guy at all. What do I do? That's also intent. It's not
Yep,
just hitting the ball to the boundary or trying to hit the big six. There's also, there's different elements to it. Um,
absolutely,
and yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, oh, it was inexcusable what England did, and then they gave away that advantage, and yeah, they let Australia, take a good lead into the second innings, which proved crucial, and yeah, I think there'll be definitely some changes in that England side. Jimmy Anderson hasn't looked as effective, and yeah, they might look to bring Mark Wood if he's fit.
Do you think, last question, sorry, I said that before, but do you think we'll see more of Jimmy Anderson after this series?
Yeah, it was something I was thinking about. Well, is this, are we nearing the end with Jimmy now? He didn't look as effective in the first two tests. I don't know. Um, I'd like to see him continue on. I've really enjoyed watching him over the years. I know it's weird for an Aussie to say that, but what he's achieved is unbelievable. So hopefully he can continue and get 700 test wickets. That's
Yep,
something he very much deserves. And yeah, no, we look forward to the next test match, mate. I can't wait, and hopefully Australia can put in another big performance
absolutely.
and seal the
I
series.
think I hope Australia can seal the series in the third
Mm.
test match itself, and
Yep.
then we can go on to enjoying the last two test match without any pressure or tension or stress. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, we'll be doing this again after the end of the third test match at Headingley. So thank you, Charbel. Thank you to our listeners, and good luck to Australia. See you.